Today, we're going to dive into a really profound and honestly often overlooked part of the autistic experience. It's all about this deep, intricate connection between the mind and the body and how it literally shapes the way a person moves through the world. So let me ask you, when you hear the word autism, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of people, I bet it's something about social communication or maybe repetitive behaviors. And look, those are absolutely core aspects, but they really only tell part of the story. Because what if one of the biggest, most fundamental pieces of the puzzle isn't just about how a person thinks or communicates, but how they physically exist and move in space? This is all about the embodied experience of being autistic. To really get into this, we have to start with the hidden world of motor coordination. It's something so many of us just take for granted, right? But for a lot of autistic people, it's a constant conscious effort. Okay, so this brings us to a condition called dyspraxia, which you might also hear called developmental coordination disorder, or DCD. The easiest way to think about it is like this. There's a kind of disconnect between the brain's intention to move and the body's ability to actually carry out that movement smoothly and efficiently. Now, take a look at this number. Just let that sink in for a second. 80%. Yep, that's right. Some studies suggest that a staggering 80% of autistic people also have dyspraxia. This isn't just some small overlap. It's a massive comorbidity. It tells us that motor challenges aren't an exception. They are a very, very common part of the autistic experience. And to get a sense of what that actually feels like, just listen to this quote from an autistic adult in a 2023 study. They said, "I don't feel I have fine control of the vessel I inhabit. It glitches very often." I mean, this isn't just about being clumsy. It's this fundamental feeling of being out of sync with your own body. And that feeling leads us to a really crucial point. For many autistic people, movement isn't something that just happens. It's an active, conscious process that takes a ton of mental energy. And researchers are finally starting to unpack what that means. In fact, a key study from 2023 really dug into this by interviewing autistic adults. They found 4 core themes, showing that these motor difficulties are pervasive, that coordination is an active process that needs constant thought, and that all of this deeply impacts a person's social and emotional life. This quote from the study just captures it perfectly. "Everything you do is more deliberate, so is more exhausting because of the extra concentration involved." Just imagine that. Imagine having to consciously process every single little movement you make. Your mental battery would drain unbelievably fast. So this intense concentration that's needed for physical tasks, it's not separate from the autistic cognitive style. No way. It's deeply, deeply intertwined. And this incredible level of focus can show up in another powerful way too. This brings us from the kind of focus you need for movement to another kind of intense concentration, hyperfocus. It's a fascinating and, often really misunderstood part of autistic cognition. To really understand it, we have to talk about a concept called monotropism. It's this idea that the autistic mind tends to pull all of its resources into a kind of attention tunnel, focusing really deeply on one thing at a time. This is what's thought to be the gateway to those intense states of flow and hyperfocus. And being in that state, it can be a place of just incredible joy and wonder. This quote is from an autistic person talking about being found as a kid on a sandbank, completely absorbed. For them, there was no sense of danger, just this profound, mystifying beauty in the light on the water. It's a state of pure, immersive presence. But there's a flip side. That same intense absorption can be really challenging. Another person in this study shared that when that attention tunnel gets that deep, it can be incredibly hard to pull away to take care of other parts of life. Parenting, relationships, even just basic personal needs. So you see, it's this total duality, right? On one hand, hyperfocus can be a source of immense joy, a feeling of control and incredible productivity. But on the other hand, it can lead to burnout, to neglecting other responsibilities, and a real struggle to shift your attention when you need to. It's a powerful tool for sure, but it is a double-edged sword. So how does all of this, the constant effort of movement and the intensity of focus, how does it actually translate to the real world? Well, the impact is huge, and it really highlights why we need so much more understanding and support. This social and emotional cost can be absolutely immense. As one person in the study put it, you just can't untangle physical awkwardness from social awkwardness. This can lead to being bullied for having a strange gait, it creates real safety risks from falls, and it can mean carrying around a lifetime of negative emotions like anxiety and shame for something that is completely out of your control. So, without a lot of formal support, autistic people often develop these incredible coping strategies on their own. They range from practical tools like timers and lists to, well, the less helpful strategy of just avoiding difficult things. But you know what one of the most powerful tools is? Self-acceptance. And this is so important. For so many people, finally getting a diagnosis is the key that unlocks everything. It's that moment of clarity that lets you reframe a whole lifetime of being told you were clumsy or lazy and finally understand it as a fundamental part of how your brain is wired. I mean, this quote just says it all. It's a powerful act of reclaiming an identity. What society might just label as a deficit is reframed as an integral, fundamental part of a person's character. Something to be understood and accepted, not fixed. Which leaves us with a final, really crucial question to think about. If we recognize that the artistic experience isn't just cognitive, but is deeply, fundamentally physical, then how can we start to build a world that truly sees and supports the whole person, in mind and in body?